So this past week was a big week for Nintendo, primarily for two main reasons. One, of course, was their latest financial report. In that financial report, we learned that the Nintendo Switch 2 sold over 10 million systems between June and the end of September. It is still the fastest selling console of all time. And yes, the console does have problems. There are things to be ironed out with it. There are definitely things to be improved with it. But I think the good does outweigh the bad when it comes to this, and I think a lot of people are seeing it. Now, of course, you also learned about the software, with Mario Kart World selling nearly 10 million copies, 3.5 million for Donkey Kong Bonanza. And the second thing, of course, was the fact that Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment finally came out. Now, I have been thoroughly enjoying this game. I am well over 12 hours into the game now, and I made a video on it. Make sure you check it out from yesterday. But this is a game that's definitely very appealing to me. I don't think it's going to be appealing to everyone. If you're not interested in the warrior style of gameplay, it's not going to be a game for you. But if you are, like I am, and you enjoy it taking place within a world and realm that you are familiar with, I think it's a very attractive game. But of course, you have to look at the upcoming stuff for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well, because the system is only as good as the software that comes out on it. Nintendo, during that financial report, also put out an image showcasing upcoming first-party Nintendo Switch 2 games, and I have some things to say about it. Much like Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment being a game for me, as I look at this list of upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 games, I kind of have to wonder if I'm going to be super satisfied coming up. So we'll figure that out together. I'll sprinkle some other bits of information in as well that Nintendo has reported during that financial report as to why the situation is like this. First time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But let's take a look at this image together now. And these are the upcoming first-party Nintendo Switch 2 titles. Now, of course, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, that has already come out, video on the channel. Go watch that. Thoroughly enjoying the game. Next up, we have Kirby Air Riders, and I don't know, man. Like, I am buying Kirby Air Riders. I am purchasing Kirby Air Riders because I think people are going to be interested to see someone who's not super hyped about this game, what they have to say about this game. Because honestly, if this was not my career, this was not my job to review and talk about video games, Kirby Air Riders would not be a game that I pick up. Like, it just wouldn't be. But I am going to buy it because I do think people will be interested in what I have to say about it. Just to me, it looks fine. Like, it looks fun. It looks decent, you know. It looks like a decent enough time. But with other games coming out, such as Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, the Switch 2 version that's coming out, and we now know the tech specs of it, and it's running at like 1440p, 60 frames per second in docked mode. Like, I think that's going to be a cooler racing game for me, personally, because I mean, the Switch 1 version wasn't very good. And I'll be checking out that game too. But I will check out Kirby Air Riders, but I can't say that I'm hyped for it. And maybe that's good. Maybe the game will pleasantly surprise me at the end of the day, and I'll end up liking it more than I think I will. But I'm definitely not, like, super stoked for it. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond coming out on December 4th. This is one of my most anticipated games of the year. I am a huge Metroid Prime fan. However, with that being said, I can't help but feel like, I don't know, I have this weird feeling about the game. I just have this weird feeling about the game. Not that it's not going to be good, because I do think it's going to be good, but will it be a little bit held back? Because at the end of the day, this is a Switch 1 game with a Switch 2 version. You know, it's not like they made this game with the Nintendo Switch 2 in mind. It's a Switch 1 game with a Switch 2 version that will look better, that will run better, that will, of course, you know, have the mouse controls and stuff like that. And I think graphically it looks good and all of that sort of stuff, but I don't know. It just feels, something feels a little bit strange with this game. And that pains me to say because, like I said, I love Metroid Prime games, but I just wonder if there's something, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like this should have been, like, such a larger scale thing. You know, this should have been, like, you know, the swan song, potentially, for Metroid Prime. And how they sort of do things with the game and with the franchise, throw some online gameplay in there, really expand upon it, bring everything that you have learned, with the Metroid Prime games in the past to make it this huge, massive experience. But it just seems like another Metroid Prime game. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I think that it'll still be a good game. And I'm still hyped for it. But I am a little bit just kind of, I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing, though. Next up on the list, Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. Now, to be fair, I do think the update is a decent update. I'm still not going to buy this game. I like the more Nintendo integration into things that's coming in the DLC. I like the fact that the upgrade, you do get Switch 2 specific things. And it's only $5. It could have been free. You could have thrown people a bone. You could have put it up on the Nintendo Switch 2 online expansion thing. But I find it interesting that this game and then also Super Mario Brothers Wonder plus Meet Up in Bella Bell Park Nintendo Switch 2 Edition just rolls right off the tongue. Those two games are positioned on this chart as 2026 spring games. Of course, Animal Crossing has a concrete release date of January 15th, with Super Mario Brothers Wonder with a release date of spring of 2026. And that kind of makes me feel like something that Nintendo also recently said during this investors meeting. Switch 2 games are going to take longer to develop, and they want people to still experience Switch 1 evergreen titles on the Nintendo Switch 2. So I fully feel like you're going to get more upgraded versions of first-party Switch 1 games on the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think this is the end of it. I think this is still just the start and the beginning of this thing, because it allows you to potentially access people who maybe never played the original games. Now, we don't have too much sales data, but Super Mario Country Bear Jamboree, when the Switch 2 version came out, it had an over 1.18 million sale increase because of that Switch 2 version. So like those Switch 2 versions of Switch 1 games are selling pretty decently. And if you could pick up a used copy of the game, because I think paying $80 for a Switch 2 enhanced Switch 1 game is just absolutely ludicrous. But if you pick up a used copy and you get the upgrade for $5, $10, or $20, depending on what it is, and then you're still paying around $60, $70 for it, it might not be a bad thing. But as someone who's played a ton of Switch 1 games and has pretty much played all the first party games that he wants to, I don't find the appeal to both of these things. Just me personally. Super Mario Brothers Wonder, great game. Loved my time with it. I'm good. Animal Crossing, it's Animal Crossing once again. I have moved on from this franchise, so I'm not picking up these two games either on the Nintendo Switch 2 with the Nintendo Switch 2 editions. Unless just something crazy happens, then maybe I would. Mario Tennis Fever. I'm actually interested in this game. I like Mario sports games. This game seems to have a lot more love and care put into it than some other Mario sports games, especially those Switch 1 sports games, like Mario Golf and Mario Tennis on the Switch 1. It was like drip feed of content. It seems like they've gone away from that with this version of Mario Tennis, with Mario Tennis Fever, and it's more of a well-rounded package on day one, which is something that I am into. February 12th, so this game comes out in like roughly 3 months now at the time of the filming of this video. This is a game that I am looking forward to. This is a game I will pick up. Granted, it's not some, epic single player, 3D platformer or 3D action adventure game, because you're not really seeing many in here that are specifically Nintendo Switch 2 games, but I am interested in that game, and I will be picking it up. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. No. That's a spring 2026 game. Just no. I don't know, man. Like, I get it. I do get it. But no. I don't care for this visual style. I know there's going to be angry people in the comments. How dare you? You don't like this. You're a terrible person. It just doesn't appeal to me. This is not the type of game that I want to play. It seems like a game for a younger audience, which is fine. A family audience, which is fine. I'm not a family man. I'm not a family guy. I'm not a younger audience guy. This game for me is a skip. I'm not interested. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't really care for the Yoshi games that we've gotten, you know, in the past, you know, decade or so. Like, they're fine. They're inoffensive. You can have some fun with them. But it's not something that I'm looking forward to, like, oh, I need to buy this. I want to play this. No, not for me. Maybe for you, but not for me. Pokemon Pokopia. This just looks terrible. This just looks bad. Like, it visually looks horrible. Horrible. The disgusting N64 vines in the back. Like, what are we? God, please, Pokemon fans. I understand. You love Pokemon. You love the characters. But you could sit there and say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to support this because this game doesn't look visually appealing. This game doesn't seem like a good game. You know, not every Pokemon game that ever comes out is necessarily a good game. We've seen Pokemon games with nice graphics. Pokken Tournament. New Pokemon Snap. You know, even Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube looks better than these games. Like, what are we doing here? This is a massive skip for me because it's kind of one of those cozy-ish games, and I am good on that. Fire Emblem, Fortune's Weave, and Splatoon Raiders are the other two announced 2026 games. Fire Emblem, Fortune's Weave looks good. You know, I want to see more of it, obviously, but I think that looks pretty good. Splatoon Raiders, same sort of thing. But when you look at this list, you're kind of noticing, like, okay, well, where's, like, something big, specifically, you know, Switch 2. Like, I feel like, you know, some of these games obviously are Switch 1 versions, but some of these games started life on the Switch 1. A lot of the games that we are seeing released for the Switch 2 started life as a Switch 1 game. We know Donkey Kong Bonanza was a Switch 1 game. And I feel like that's something that I'm still going to be looking forward to with the Switch 2 when it comes to first-party titles, is Nintendo really spreading their wings and making a game specifically for the Switch 2 that started life as a Switch 2 game and never had a Switch 1 version in mind. Because I think that's where it's going to really shine. You know, a big 3D Mario, a big, you know, Legend of Zelda game, you know, something a little bit different, you know, potentially as well, because obviously you don't want to release all of your heavy hitters all of at once. But I want to see what Nintendo is really able to do with the Switch 2 system, because really, third-party companies, I think, are going to be helping out quite a bit with this lineup. You know, stuff like Resident Evil Requiem, I think that's, to me, is way more exciting than most of the games on this list, for me. You know, Resident Evil Requiem, I would pick over pretty much every game on this list. Maybe not Metroid Prime 4, but everything else for sure. For sure, I would pick up Resident Evil Requiem. And I think that that is a benefit of the Switch 2, is that developers are already starting to do some very nice things with it. Like I talked about with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds and all of that sort of information. You know, that's a very visually pleasing game. It's a very fast running game, and, you know, lots of graphical effects, having to load simultaneous courses at once because of the cross worlds mechanic in the game. So I find that to be very interesting. I just think, you know, it's probably, you know, we'll get a February Direct, and that'll probably spice things up with some bigger titles and some more, you know, impressive titles. But it does kind of seem like a little bit of a quiet spring, just depending on what sort of games you're into. For me personally, you know, Mario Tennis, Metroid Prime, Fire Emblem, whenever that comes out, I guess there's some stuff. But I think third-party games are also going to be very, very important. What do you think about Nintendo's upcoming list, though? And, of course, you got to keep in mind, like I just said, February, there will probably be a Nintendo Direct. We'll probably learn about some bigger, more marquee titles as well. And then, I mean, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Like, you look at that lineup of games, a lot of Switch 1 stuff, Switch 1 games with a Switch 2 version. Doesn't matter. The system's still selling like crack cocaine in the 80s, bro. doesn't matter. You know, people like the system. I understand why. So let me know in the comment section down below what games you guys are looking forward to. Maybe you can convince me to change my tune on some of these. I don't think you will, because I'm already buying Kirby Air Riders would be the only game you could really make me change my tune on, and I'm already buying it, so there's no tune to be changed. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Give me your thoughts as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.